Para mí el sincretismo hay que entenderle entre el simbolismo religioso católico y el simbolismo religioso ancestral, que en la actualidad se han juntado, pero el sincretismo es cuando ya se han armonizado las dos, y entonces en el espíritu de la persona andina no está diferenciando de que aquí estoy en lo católico y aquí estoy en lo ancestral, no, es una sola.
The fiesta is a way in which the indigenous population of the Ecuadorian Andes can express and explore their identity. The following work documents how the religious indigenous fiestas are celebrated today, 500 years after the Spanish conquest. Inside the complex network of the celebration, one finds ritual rooted in pre-Columbian belief, a system based on man's relationship with nature and the agricultural calendar. The fiesta is also rooted in Spanish culture, particularly in the deep dedication to Catholicism. The fact that both Catholic and pre-Columbian beliefs are expressed inside the same celebrations and rituals reveals a syncretic relationship between the two belief systems. In this amalgamation of identity, representations from the past, including the conquest, are incorporated into the fiesta, perhaps in an attempt to make sense of a history littered with injustice.
Se trae sus naranjas, su plátano, mata su cuy, su gallina. Entonces el prioste le ama a la gente, le ama a la gente, le ama a los visitantes. Entonces esa comida le da a toda la gente que va a visitar, toda la, a los niños, padres de familias o a los profesores. Entonces el prioste tiene como muy cariño.
The prioste is the person who is in charge of making the fiesta happen. He will gain an immeasurable amount of prestige, and it may be one of the most important times in his life. The prioste spends all of his money to pay for the party, possibly putting himself in debt for years. In the cold pueblo of Zimbabwe, the prioste throws oranges to his community. The community is obligated to give back to the prioste. This tradition of reciprocity appears throughout the indigenous fiestas of the Andes. It is considered rude to show up to the house of the prioste without a gift. When one rooster is received one year, 6 are returned in the following year, continuing the reciprocal relationship. A whole network of family, friends, and neighbors work together to prepare the food and feed hundreds of guests. The celebration and the combined effort of putting the fiesta together unifies the community. On the eve of the fiesta, the prioste and his network of family and friends slaughter a bull. The bull is a symbol of the Spanish. Some say this ritual is a symbolic act of revenge against the Spanish.
Cuando tú vas a una ceremonia con un chamán, entonces empieza a rezar a la luna. De repente reza, convoca al rayo, convoca al puma, convoca al espíritu de los cerros y convoca a la Virgen del Quinche. Hay un montón de vírgenes en la religión católica, ¿no es cierto? Y a veces a Jesucristo también.
The indigenous people of Ecuador have been celebrating the summer solstice and the harvest of the corn since before the arrival of the Spanish. This festivity is known as Inti Raymi, or Fiesta for the Sun, and is celebrated in unison with the Catholic holidays of Corpus Christi, San Juan, and San Pedro. During these fiestas, the community dances together for days, and offerings are given to Pachamama, or Mother Earth, and the local mountain gods. The offerings are given to thank the gods for the harvest, and to ask for a good harvest in the following year. Chicha, a fermented corn drink, is used during the rituals. It has been a sacred beverage since before the arrival of the Spanish. The indigenous practice water rituals in sacred places such as springs, waterfalls, or lakes. The water is believed to wash away evil and give the participants the power to dance for the fiesta. The Virgin, Jesus, and the saints are often mentioned during the ceremony. Music is an integral part of the celebration. After the conquest, the missionaries believed that the instruments were linked to cults and destroyed them. Today, the conch shell, or cuipa, is used throughout the indigenous fiestas of the Ecuadorian Andes. As the bulls arrive to the village of Apagua, the sound of long horns fills the air. In June, when Corpus Christi, Inti Raymi, and the summer solstice coincide, dancers symbolizing the ancient cult to the sun can be seen in Pujili, Zumbagua, and Salasaca. Catholic symbols, as well as symbols representing nature, are incorporated into the costume of the danzante. In Zumbagua and the surrounding communities, men wear wooden masks representing different animals during the fiesta of Christmas. They dance and playfully fight throughout the fiesta.
En la época del Inti Raymi ya dan una misa en honor a San Juan, en honor a San Pedro o a San Pablo o cualquier otra virgen que exista en cada comunidad. Eso lo hacemos actualmente, ¿no? Ya que no existen huacas, pero existe ese santo. Pero para nosotros esos santos no son así un simple santo como la religión católica lo pone, ¿no? Para nosotros, mediante ellos, es contactarnos con todo lo que existe aquí. Con el sol, con los cerros, eso lo hace.
In the indigenous communities of Ecuador, there are many devout Catholics, and their loyalty to the saints, the Virgin, and Jesus is profound. The Catholic missionaries used the strategy of building their churches over pre-Christian temples and sacred grounds in both Europe and America. It may have been easy for the indigenous populations to bring the Virgin into their belief systems because of her similarity to Pachamama, or Mother Earth. Kids dress up in their best clothes to celebrate the birth of Christ in Zimbabwe. Los Niños, or small figures representing baby Jesus, are paraded through the streets. In Zimbabwe, one of the Niños is named Rumi, which means stone, an indigenous symbol for the power of nature and pre-Columbian belief. Some of these Niños are famous throughout Ecuador. El Niño de Isinche has a large following and is believed to make miracles happen. The indigenous women lay their crops out on the floor to be blessed by a priest, much like they would put out offerings to Pachamama, or a local mountain god. The bulls were brought to Ecuador by the Spanish in colonial times. Over the years, they have been incorporated into the indigenous fiestas of the Andes. Usually, a number of men will enter the ring using jackets and ponchos to get the bull's attention. When the bull charges, they frantically try to escape. Along with the bulls, the Spanish brought alcohol. The two are a dangerous combination. Often people are hurt or even killed by the bulls during the fiesta. The abuse of alcohol is prevalent during the fiesta. If one is offered a drink, they are obligated to take it. Throughout the fiesta, La Banda de Pueblo plays music with instruments introduced by the Europeans.
Todas las fiestas siempre tenían dos elementos, los elementos buenos y los elementos malos. El español era malo para ellos. Entonces ellos tenían que de alguna forma vengarse, de alguna forma tenían que demostrar lo mal que estaba eso. Entonces se pintan de blanco, pero para asemejarse al blanco español.
The fiesta can be seen as an opportunity for the indigenous people to understand their history, express their frustrations, and take the power back from those who dominated them. This prioste paints his face white to ridicule the Spanish, or perhaps to appropriate their power. A man representing the authority figure of the hacienda whips people during a Christmas celebration near Zimbabwe. There was once a large African population in the city of Latacunga because slaves were brought to the area to work in nearby mines. This influence can be seen in the fiesta of La Mama Negra, in which many of the participants paint their faces black. During the fiesta of La Mama Negra, people dress like the Spanish and carry swords as they march next to El Capitan, the prioste of the fiesta. In a fiesta in Salasaca, the young men dress to portray mestizos from the coast. They carry swords to symbolize the military power of the Spanish. The next day, they paint their faces black and run through the fiesta causing havoc. They often go so far as to tear the underwear off of young women and throw it up in trees. It is said that they are symbolically reenacting the Spanish conquest. During the same fiesta, young boys dress up like females to represent the virgins who were raped by the Spanish. On a steep slope above Zimbabwe, men chase La Vaca Loca, a man dressed up like a bull. During the fiesta of Inti Raymi, people dress up in clothing worn by the authority figures during the hacienda era. They have whips and wear goatskin pants. Throughout the fiestas of the Ecuadorian Andes, representations from the past are incorporated.
O sea, tiene que haber muerto. Antes decía, no vale el Inti Raymi si no ha habido por lo menos unos 3 o 4 muertos.
In a city in northern Ecuador, there exists a ritual battle during the Fiesta of Inti Raymi. Two separate groups of communities come to the plaza and dance around the square, exhibiting their power and unity. Eventually, the two groups begin to fight in the streets and rocks fall like rain. Some believe that the two groups represent the masculine and feminine aspects of the indigenous belief, much of which is based in duality. The blood that spills to the ground as a result of the battle between the two groups is an important element of the fertility ritual. The elders believe that it purifies the land and is an offering to Cotocachi, the local mountain god, who will in return give the people a fruitful harvest in the following year.
La fiesta en sí tiene diferentes elementos. Elementos precolombinos tiene esta fiesta. Elementos incásicos tiene esta fiesta. Y elementos españoles tiene esta fiesta. Por eso esta fiesta es sincrética, porque reúne muchos elementos, otros elementos que no son los preincásicos, sino también los españoles. Y con el tiempo han ido acumulando otros elementos más.
The indigenous fiestas are constantly changing. Ritual battles no longer exist in some of the communities that used to participate in this tradition. In the future, this ritual may disappear completely due to the pressures from the police and the church. Some fiestas which were celebrated in past years have become extinct. Others have been strengthened from efforts made by indigenous